think everyone knows me already. I'm Lisa Bardell Muscatolo. I'm the Secretary General for Iasas, and I'll be the moderator for today's session on sustainability. I did want to just let you know that there is a mistake on the next sessions. There will only be a 10-minute break, so two of them say the right time. We'll start right at 15:40 because we're trying to give a longer break before the gala. So if it says 1600, that is wrong. It's 1540. So if you go to your next session, keep that in mind, okay? And obviously, I'm thrilled to be moderating this session because this session is dear to my heart around sustainability and related to the International Association of Student Affairs and Student Services. We feel that this is utmost of importance in the work we do in supporting students around the world, and not just the work we do, but the work of higher education and how important sustainability and sustainable principles are to our students. So I'm looking forward to listening to all the sessions. Each person will have about 15 minutes, or each person's, if there's more than one person speaking, and then we will have question and answers at the end. So if you could just keep your notes, if you have any questions. I will be kind of a time monger, so I'll make sure that everyone, I'm thinking of my colleague Julia. These two I've worked with at AUS for 5 years, so about 5 years. So they know we talk about styles all the time and culturally too, related to being on time. So I'm going to be a time monger. Does that make sense? Any questions? Okay. And Sue Bean has the presentations loaded. So, okay, let's get started. Our first presentation. Hi, Dr. Laura. I haven't met you yet. I'm glad to see you, though. We've talked. I've seen your Dr. Laura Montag and Michael Pastot. Yep. Michelle. Oh, Michelle. Right, Michelle. I know. Sorry, Michelle. Okay. Thank you. I think I've been hearing that people in the back can't hear without a microphone. Is that correct, Sabina? Alvin? And they're doing the recording. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, thank you to all the guests that are joining us virtually or will listen later.
Sure. This one. Would you take some photos? Just not just one. One will be fine, and for the homepage, you know. Okay. So I will start now with our presentation. Hello and welcome to our presentation. It's not me alone. It's also Michael standing at the side here today. And yeah, we have a presentation about the sustainability in German student affairs. My name is Laura, and I am relatively new to this, well, I call it student service bubble, kind of. So I need to learn all the acronyms and the names and so on, because I only started last September at the DSW, which is Deutsches Studierendenwerk, which stands for the Federal Association of the German Student Service Centers, which are 57. I will show you later a bit more details on that. And there I am working as the Director for Business Administration and Sustainability, and trying to focus also on the sustainability in my daily work, to be honest. So do I click forward on this one? Okay. Yeah, and Michael, he will introduce him. You want to introduce yourself now? Or you fine?
Yes, I'm Michael Postert. I'm a director of the Studierendenwerk Karlsruhe. This is one of 57 Studierendenwerke in Germany. And I'm going to present then a little example of what Laura is presenting in total for Germany.
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, just to give you a brief overview of how the organizational structure in Germany is. We have 57 public student service agencies. You can see them on the map right on the right. So everywhere marked, there's a little Studierendenwerk in Germany, and they were some of them, not all of them, but some of them were funded as self-help organizations over 100 years ago. So, for example, Karlsruhe, where Michael is from, they celebrated their 100th birthday last year, or 100th anniversary. In Germany, they are organized as public agencies, so they are established by state law, and they are independent from the higher education institute. So that's maybe different from where you are coming from. They are actually like separate units from the university, but often they are placed, or usually they are placed on the campus, but they are separate and individually economically working, you can say. So overall, they are in charge of 2.5 million students at over 400 higher education institutes in over 200 cities in Germany. So they have a wide student portfolio, and they provide services both for students and the higher education institutes. For example, the financing support is also done by the student services. And where I work in Berlin, but I work at the Federal Association for Student Affairs. So we have one association in which every 57 student service agency is part of. We are a non-profit association, and basically our main goal is to provide training and support and service for our student services in Germany, and for the students, of course. Switch. Okay. So what I'm going to present today, I will just give a brief overview of the sustainability issues currently in the German student affairs. And then I will present about 6 or 7, depending on the time, good practices and example from our German network in terms of sustainability endeavors. And then Michael will take the third part, and he will go into detail what they're actually doing in Karlsruhe, which is in the, well, you will show later where it is. It doesn't really matter, but maybe you would like to know where it is in case you ever come to Germany. So I will start with the first part and the issues that the student services are currently facing in Germany. Oh, that's wrong, obviously. Okay. So I just, now they seem very huge. Well, maybe some of the issues are also very, very big and very big of a challenge. I just put 5 of them here to show you what the current situation in Germany is like. Maybe other countries are facing the same ones. But anyway, that's the situation they are in right now. So we have the 3 sustainability pillars: economic, environmental, social, and then also some other challenges regarding stakeholders and legal requirements. So we see that on the economic side, or we and the whole world experiences on the economic side a very stressful and challenging time due to COVID-19 pandemic, multiple crises all over the world. So the student services face themselves in a very tough economic situations, higher inflation rate, and therefore distribution battles in terms, for example, of financing. So they have to struggle to get the financing they need to provide the services they want to provide. So that's what they find themselves like in the middle between the expectations of the students and providing the best services they want to get in terms of dining, housing, and so on, but also managing a student service in an economically viable way. So that's a tough one, I think. On the environmental side, we see that the inclusion and basically also as a first step, the assessment of the environmental impact of the economic activities is a very important or current issue for the student services as well. The students have a very strong desire for sustainable solutions, for example, in dining, for vegan, vegetarian options, and also less packaging and so on. So the student services, again, face a very strong expectation on that matter. And on the social side, we see, for example, in Germany, our what is Generalsekretär? Secretary General, sorry, I'm still in my German language and all the complicated words. He framed it as a big crisis, as a big social crisis for the students with all the crises happening in the world. And we see, for example, that the student services, which in Germany also offer the counseling service, that they are very high in demand, and not in a positive way, because it means that students are really challenged in doing their studies and focusing on that, and so that we see on the social side. Yeah, and then we have different stakeholder groups that also have some expectations on the student services, such as the federal legislators or the state legislator, but also the higher education institutes on the campus themselves who have demands on the or for the student services. Yeah, and last but not least, we have legal regulations, which I am currently working on very hard. I don't know if any one of you is from the European Union, also facing the legal regulations there. The new Sustainability Directive on sustainability reporting is a big topic for the student services, and they are very very eager to have this issue a bit reduced in order to cope with that. So these are just some brief challenges that they are facing in Germany and maybe in other countries as well. I just want to give now a brief overview of the, good practices and some examples from the German network. You probably all know this picture, and I think it doesn't need any explanation or introduction. Nevertheless, I included it here to just illustrate on which points I will go into detail, because I just want to present some examples and good practices that I link to the different goals that they work basically towards from the student service side. So maybe I will skip some, but to make it in time. Let me know how much, because I need to leave 5 minutes for Micha to go. Oh well. Okay. Okay. Let's start with the one that might be very obvious, but I think it's a nice one, especially with the examples that I found from the student services. So again, the student services in Germany are not connected to the educational part from the higher education institute. So nevertheless, they try to help in achieving that goal, the SDG 4, which has the goal to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. And just some examples. So for example, in Cologne and in the Saarland, which is in the southeast, close to France, they provide sustainability as an educational concept in their daycare center. So, for example, they go outside and watch animals, or they teach how to use resources in an environmentally friendly and conscious way, and generally try to teach children at a very young age how to be part of a natural cycle. And I think that's very cute in a sense that already the small ones get information on how we have to live together on this planet. Other student services provide mandatory or sometimes voluntary workshops for new and old employees on topics such as sustainable development, energy efficient usage, and intercultural communication. For example, in Darmstadt, they provide every half a year, they provide workshops for the new employees at the student services, so they all get aligned with the mission that they are on. Then I have some examples for the SDG 7, clean energy for all. So we want to have access to affordable, reliable, and sustainable energy, and the student services, for example, in Cologne, Darmstadt, and Freiburg, and also many others, they purchase 100% certified renewable electricity in all the student service buildings. So basically they all have green energy, which is not self-produced, but at least not to the full extent, but at least it is a form of renewable electricity. And some also have in-house power generations with photovoltaics and or wind turbines, for example, on student housing and administration buildings. I brought some footage of that from Freiburg, so you can see, where's the pointer? This one probably. Or maybe, oops, how do I go back? Sorry. Wait, I just use that one. Well, anyway, on the top or in the back, you see a photovoltaic system at the or on the student housing in Freiburg, and on the bottom part, you see a wind turbine at the student service in Berlin on the roof of a canteen producing clean energy. And I have a fact. Oh, okay. Well, I will just skip some of the other parts. Anyway, I have some nice figures. So in 2022, for example, Freiburg, so the example in the back with the nice mountains in the back, they produced 72 of the electricity, no, sorry, so 72 of the electricity consumed by that housing was produced by the photovoltaic system. And on their administration buildings, they have a self-sufficiency rate, at least theoretically, of 58%. So that's quite nice. And all the student services are trying or checking which houses are available and maybe applicable to applying some photovoltaics and therefore being like what is it called? Abhängig, dependent on energy prices and so on. Maybe I just go to some other. I just skip that one. Maybe the ones with the nice photos. So SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities. Also the student service in Darmstadt, which is, you will see that or saw that already a lot of times. They're very forward-going student service in terms of sustainability. They create or try to create sustainable living spaces through projects such as screening the roofs of the residential complexes and use collected rainwater, for example, for the washing machines in the student housing. So some nice ideas how to create a sustainable living space for all. You can see it here in the back. I mean, now on this photo they don't look that nice, but anyway, you can see how it is meant that that they greened the roofs and use and collect the rainwater and then use it for other appliances, basically. Yeah, and we have urban gardening project and so on. Okay. Yeah, sorry. We can. I don't know if the presentations are uploaded somewhere, but if you. I will just hand it over to Michael so he can go into details. We have 5 minutes for that, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I will just skip forward to the part. Okay. So, third part. Good luck.
Okay, I understand I have to speed up. So very closely, the red dot, this is the area of the Studierenwerk of Karlsruhe, serving some 43,000 students in that area for 11 universities in total. This gives you an image about, I'm talking about student restaurants, what we're doing there. So we have 3 canteens, 9 cafeterias, 4 coffee bars. We're serving some 12,200 meals per day to the students. This is quite a lot, and we have a turnover of around 13 million euro a day for the restoration food. We do it all ourselves, and what I'm going to present now is an idea, actually, which is already in place, that we communicate to the customer, to the student, actually their environmental footprint. So you have, is this a? No. Okay, we do the CO2 measurement, we measure the water footprint, and we have the animal welfare. And we have the rainforest protection, and we compare this with food that we can have comparable. What we do actually is that we calculate whatever we buy, the stuff. We have a database. We use this kind of eternity database where we collect all the data, starting from the production on the field until the cooking process in the kitchen, what kind of energy for these 4 fields we consume. So the student can know, he will have this information, he has this information actually when he can choose on his dish. So you can see here what you have seen before, and you see the 1, 2, or 3 stars. So every student. The environmental score, I said, you have 4 of them. They have the CO2 score, which accounts for some 50% of the overall calculation. The other 3, the rainforest and the water, they call together the other 50% because you have to focus on the CO2. I have to speed up, I understand. So, so you have basically now I'm talking about the communication with them. So the students can see this, and he can and also choose exactly his food, how it is put together. Because the student comes to the student restaurant, usually he just pops in. He hasn't informed himself beforehand, so he needs a very shorthand information, and he can then adjust his diet according to his needs. You can then get guided to an internet website where you can actually then research in detail about your dish. This is actually the main message I want to convey to you. And we have a lot of information. We have all this also in English on our website if you want to check on this. Or, well, or you contact myself and I give more details in more time, more concise. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next is going to be Dr. Norby Salanga and Maria Carmen Apuli. Did I do okay? Thank you so much, Ma.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you guys? Good? I hope you enjoyed our lunch. Okay, so my name is Norby Salonga from the Philippines, and I am joined by Miss Maria Carmen Apoli also. We're from De La Salle University, and we're here to present to you social entrepreneurship as a strategy for sustainable social engagement for students. I'd like to ask first, before I begin, who among you here are familiar with the concept of social entrepreneurship? Good. Thank you very much. Okay, just to give you a bit of a background, majority of social engagement programs actually utilize the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. In fact, the UNSCAP in 2022 has even identified social entrepreneurship as a strategy to in fact fast track the localization process of the SDG. And establishment of engagement with specific partners is in fact crucial in developing sustainable social engagement, particularly in the form of formation as well as curricular and co-curricular integration for students. An established network of partners, particularly people's organization, community-based organization, is also a requirement for a sustained engagement. So I'd like to highlight some of the things related to social entrepreneurship in the context of the Philippines, particularly De La Salle University. So integration of SE into the programs of curriculum and social engagement program, in fact, creates and broadens learning opportunities by allowing students to work with communities and partner organizations to develop social enterprises. Second, a learning-centered approach contributes to sustained student engagement, especially when community members are involved not just as mere beneficiaries of the outreach or social engagement project, but as co-formators of faculty members doing social entrepreneurship with students. And just to give you a bit of a background how we define social entrepreneurship in the context of Lasallian mission, we define social entrep as a multi-sectoral. We work with public and private organizations in building social enterprises. Multidisciplinary because we work with all of the disciplines. In fact, in our university, we work with all 10 colleges and schools in De La Salle University. And of course, innovative approach to development. We go beyond the traditional solutions to problem by highlighting the need for students to think critically in developing social enterprises. Because at the end of the day, we want them, the students, to develop social enterprises that are addressing directly societal issues using sustainable development goals as their development agenda. And in terms of the definition, as we know, before the Sustainable Development Goals was even passed, there's already Sustainable Development development agenda. And according to the International Institute for Sustainable development is a development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet. And the triple bottom line, which includes people, planet, and profit, are in fact very much aligned with what we call the triple bottom line in social entrepreneurship, which highlights social, economic, and environmental sustainability, which explains why UN believes that social entrepreneurship is a strategy for sustainable development. But the question is, how do we balance these bottom lines? Number one, people. We need to ensure that we promote inclusive participation, transitioning from transactional to transformational. The second one is addressing environmental sustainability. There shouldn't be a mindset of there is planet B, we only have planet A, and we have to be responsible enough to manage our own behavior in the utilization of our limited resources. And third, ensuring that we equitably distribute the resources and try to promote the improvement of well-being of the community members that we serve and that we work with. Now, to give us some details about our research study, particularly the research question and research design, I'd like to call in Ms. Carmen Apuli.
For our research question, we want to find out how sustainable social engagement through social entrepreneurship programs impact on the formation of our students. And with the objective of actually assessing the level and quality of engagement that is through entrepreneurship and as a sustainable engagement model for our students. And we look into, we use the case study approach and utilizing for level one, we use the survey questionnaire and then the key informant interviews with focused group discussions. And we validate the initial findings and assess the level of knowledge, skills, and attitude of the students. And we for our research framework, we want to look into the core elements of social entrepreneurship, like inclusive participation, scalability, what's this, value proposition, and sustainability in the areas of in the design of the information design, and that's what I said a while ago, the core elements of the social entrepreneurship, and how this impact on the role of these SEs in the formation and social engagement. And to provide us further the results of the case study we undertook, I'll get back to Dr. Norby.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ms. Carmen. So this is the case of the Lasalle Social Enterprise for Economic Development Center, looking specifically at how social entrepreneurship is in fact utilized through social engagement as an approach. So the humble beginnings, we started social entrepreneurship through social engagement under the Action Office. But years after that, piloting a fellowship program, formation program for students, we expanded to formation, curricular, SE development, internship, research, advocacy, and internationalization. That allowed us to also expand our effort from 2 SDGs to 17 SDGs. But the question is, how do we do that? Or how did we do that? So we made use of our own definition, highlighting, as I said, the multisectoral, multidisciplinary, innovative approach to development, looking specifically at 3 variables on inclusive ownership structure, allowing community members to be part of the ownership structure of social enterprises, not just mere beneficiaries or participants of the development of social enterprises. Second is quality participation, involving them in identifying the problem, building up the solution, and operationalizing the social enterprises. And of course, putting value on non-monetary contributions. As Ms. Carmen has said earlier, knowledge, skills, and capacities, and as well as the attitude. These are all important in terms of the localization process. Now, looking at that principles, 104 community members hold management positions in social enterprises. That's the impact of the intervention. 290 community members are now involved in managing social enterprises with 22 community-led projects, 44 trainings initiated, and 60 partnership forms in building their own social enterprises. This highlights the need that for a community student partnership in developing social enterprises. In terms of the localization of SDGs, these are the result of our mapping out efforts, just analyzing and assessing based on our profiling the SDGs that we in fact localize through the social enterprise in our portfolio. So just to give you a bit of a background. Now, let's move on to how we do it as an institution in on DLSU. We use the Salient Reflection Framework as our means to ensure that what we do in DLSU is actually aligned with our mission as an institution and localize the United Nations SDG. So we make use of the formation program, highlighting that it shouldn't be dependent on the contents of module and learning sessions. That's the transactional role. We have to move away from that and ensuring that our students understand the learning environment they're in and try to contribute and analyze the multidisciplinary and multi-sectoral approach of social entrepreneurship. Third is about experiential learning where students share and co-create with community partners. Again, moving away from transactional to transformational, ensuring that community members are in fact part of the ones brainstorming the solutions. They understand better the problem because they experience it firsthand. And of course, social entrepreneurship requires engaging various stakeholders, working with public, private organizations, and getting partners. And we also found out that entrepreneurs' management style, regardless if you're coming from the liberal arts, education, or whatever disciplines you have, management style plays a pivotal role in terms of the quality and level of work in managing your social enterprise. And of course, building a community of like-minded individuals helps sustain the openness, the effort, the commitment of social entrepreneurs in building social enterprises. One important insight that we'd like to highlight is the fact that in building social enterprises, you need to build the social entrepreneurs first before you build the social enterprises. In terms of our conclusion, the study has revealed the need for higher academic institutions to consider integrating social entrep. Doing away with simply just doing social engagement, service learning, that's not enough anymore. Our problems have become even more complicated, and so our approach should also change. Second, by doing so, more people will have opportunity to learn more about sustainability, which is, I think, what this session is all about. We need to ensure that sustainability is right uh, at the core level of our mission as an academic institution. And of course, management philosophy as a crucial element in sustaining engagement, not only in operationalizing or managing social enterprises, but also in managing human resource and stakeholders who are part of the social enterprises. As part of our recommendations, we'd like to highlight the crucial role of academic institution in the formation process, parallel with establishing incubation and acceleration. So in the Philippines, there's a growth of the number of incubators and accelerators, but I think we need to establish the formation in academic institutions. Just to give you a bit of a background, there are only 3 centers for SE in the Philippines, and there are more than 1,000 HEIs operating. So that's not enough to in fact sustain the entire social economy sector of the Philippines. Second, academic institutions should consciously reach out and involve communities, not just mere beneficiaries of the outreach projects, but as partners in development and co-formators of the students. And third, inclusion of social enterprise as partner institutions, especially in internship program. So right now, internship program is limited to private institutions. So we need to expand that, provide spaces where students can in fact engage with social enterprises. And our last slide, related to our framework. So we have C experience, analysis and reflection, and commitment action as part of our Lasallian reflection framework. And so we wanted to ensure that that's part of our design, proposed social enterprise design. So we want to start with community immersion as our reflection process, the learning session as part of the input and deepening process, and of course, social enterprise implementation as part of our commitment action. This is how we involve our students and community partners in building social enterprises, ensuring that they follow the community development indicators, because that's one of the reasons why we're doing social entrep. Not just to localize SDG, but to develop communities with them, not for them. And that includes inclusive participation, scalability, sustainability, and value proposition. With that, we'd like to end with a quotation about how we should work as academic institutions. The real value of education is not just to teach minds, but to form a generation that understands the value of education in real life. That's all, and good afternoon.
Okay, is Lanche here? Huh. I wonder if I got a message from Lanche. I do not see. Okay. Oh, if I knew that Lanche wasn't coming, we could have slowed down. I know, right? Exactly. So more time for Q and A because I do not see Lanche here. Okay. So now I'm going to introduce. I'm the moderator, so I'm just going to open a little bit for this session, but I'm going to let my colleagues from American University of Sharjah to take it from here. So before I just left American University of Sharjah in the fall, and there I was the Vice Provost of Student Life, then Executive Director of Student Experience. And at that time, we were really excited. I was excited because I was going to learn more about climate action because obviously it's very important to me for us to also teach our students about the SDGs and sustainability. And I will say that American University of Sharjah was doing quite a bit, a lot more than I found when I was in the United States. So I embraced that, and I got to embrace it even more because of my colleague, that we were going to have COP28 in Dubai. So I knew I was going to learn a lot. And you know, sometimes us in student affairs and student services, we learn things that we never think we're going to ever learn, right? When we worked in residential halls, I hate to say it, I had to learn about bed bugs. Who wanted to learn about that? But the reality is, we learn as we go. We're lifelong learners. This is what we do, right? So that's what I felt like. And if it wasn't for my two colleagues here, Julia Carlo, our managing director for the Office of Sustainability, American University of Sharjah, and my faculty partner, Christina Katsos, and she works in the international studies as a faculty member. And she'll tell you a little bit about her integrating some of the things we did in our residential housing. Thank you. Whenever you guys are ready.
Hello, everyone. My name is Julia. I'm originally from Germany, but I've been living in the UAE for the last 8 years, and actually I was living in Hong Kong for the 10 years before that. So I have spent much of my adult life abroad, and I've really enjoyed working at the American University of Sharjah because it is a very unique place. The UAE, I don't know if you've ever been, but the UAE is a country that's made almost 90% of the people living there are not from there. So only 10% of the population is from the United Arab Emirates. The university is also a very young university. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary. We have 4 colleges, almost 6,000 students, and it's a highly international environment. Our faculty come from almost 50 countries, and which has ranked us number 2 in the world for international faculty. And our student body is from almost 100 countries, which has ranked us as number 6 in the world for student diversity. So it's a very exciting, dynamic place to work. And obviously, I'm very passionate about sustainability. And I'm just quickly going to introduce, so you all know Dr. Lisa.
She doesn't need any more introduction.
I'm quickly going to hand over to my colleague, Christina.
Hi, so I'm Christina Katsos. I'm a faculty member, so I'm a professor of international studies. And you would say, why is a professor here at such a conference, right? But this is basically our presentation today. It's about collaborative effort in order to get, in order for us to work forward, and we need to engage our students on more than one level. And my interests, I'm a professor of international studies in a specialization in energy, and that's how I came into the world of sustainability. And I'm really, really passionate about integrating sustainability in all levels of curriculum and engaging our students.
Yes, and I've already introduced myself, but my real big interests are student engagement, but also actually all stakeholders at the university. So it doesn't end with the students, it also involves faculty and administrators, because often I've realized sustainable change needs to involve everyone. There's a top-down approach and a bottom-up approach to make it successful. I'm also very passionate about campus decarbonization, mostly because of UAE having COP28 last year, which I will go into more detail, and communication. I find it's very important that we not only do the work, but also talk about the work that we do, and do this effectively to reach our audience. So, a quick background on the sustainability work we do at AUS. We follow the ASHI framework, and I don't know who's familiar with ASHI. It's a North American-based association for advancing sustainability in higher education. A lot of universities are part of this organization. It's very much focused on North America, obviously, but it is an international association. They have a sustainability tracking, assessment, and reporting framework that has really guided my work in the last 6 years working in this office, and that covers all aspects of the university. So education and research. There's a very detailed framework on what sustainability should be achieving in education and research. Also campus engagement and public engagement of the university. Operations, which is all the back office, our energy consumption, water consumption, and waste management. And planning and administration. This one particularly touches on the social side of sustainability, equity and inclusion, and participatory governance, which, to be honest, in the part of the world that we live in, isn't always easy to achieve. I quickly wanna, I don't know, who knows what COP is? So COP stands, I will just quickly explain. COP stands for Conference of Parties, and it's basically the annual International Climate Change Conference of the United Nations. So parties means all parties of the United Nations framework on climate change, Framework Convention on Climate Change, UNFCCC. I'm not sure if you've heard about it. So the UAE was actually hosting COP last December in Dubai, and it was the first COP that really highlighted the critical role of education in the climate change process. So all these countries from around the world come together once a year to discuss policies on climate change mitigation, adaptation, and climate finance. And it was really interesting to discover what role education could play in this big effort to tackle climate change. So touching on SDG 13, climate action, we really dedicated all of last year with our student affairs engagement on climate action. This was also the first COP that had a dedicated day for youth and education, and a dedicated zone at COP, the Greening Education Hub, where we were exhibiting and had panels on education. It was a unique opportunity to further strengthen climate literacy on campus and beyond, and engage our students in climate action. And one of the outcomes of this COP 28 in the UAE is that we formed the University's Climate Network in the UAE, which brought together all higher education institutions in the UAE to work on 4 pillars. You can see here student youth engagement, research and innovation, communal activations, and campus carbon neutrality. And we actually, as the university, we were one of the co-founders of the network, and we're leading 2 of the 4 pillars last year. And together with Lisa, we actually hosted all student affairs representatives from all the universities on campus right before COP to discuss how we could engage students in the COP process and get them to understand that they could take an empowered role.
So Julia has covered now the interinstitutional engagement. So we're going to now take you into the classroom, right? And then back outside from the classroom again. We're going to be doing a little bit of ping-ponging here. So as a faculty, I felt that we needed to do some classroom engagement. And we were lucky enough that we were able to take this, the SDGs, and we were able to integrate them into the classroom with a really innovative project called the Transformative Sustainability Project. Now, this was something that was born through COVID, obviously, right? So virtual education is not something new, but it is definitely taking a lead after COVID-19 because we know the value of taking students from one institution and taking them doing a junior year abroad or a semester abroad, right? Because having that exposure, that physical exposure into other people's cultures and into other educational styles is very important. But with COVID-19, we realized this is very, very hard. So virtual education, even though it wasn't born in COVID, right? It got accelerated. So the Transformative Sustainability Project is a virtual exchange, collaborative online international learning, as it is called, the COIL projects, right? Where we believe that it touches all the three sustainability pillars as a project, as an idea, right? Economically, students might not be able to travel across the world, might not have the funds, so now virtual education is better. So socially is more accessible because someone who doesn't have whose educational institution might not have an exchange office, an actual physical exchange office, can do virtual education. And it is also environmental because, right, we don't have to travel across the world, we don't have to spend that gas in order to go across the world. So the other aspect of sustainability is that we integrated the UN SDG goals every single one of the courses that we did collaboratively, right? We collaborated at US with 3 US institutions. We are an American-style institution, therefore it made more sense for us to collaborate with US institutions. It was a university-wide program, therefore faculty from all over and students from all over our university engaged in this, and it ran for 2 years. We were lucky enough that we were also grant funded by the Stevens Initiative. They're a fascinating new initiative out of the United States, and it is funded by the US government, the Moroccan government, and the UAE government, as well as the Bezos Foundation. So we were funded by that, but we will continue the work even after the grant ends. We're about to finish. Actually, right now, next week, we are celebrating the end. So how did this look? So over the last 2 years, we engaged 34 faculty and therefore their courses, 64 courses. I know the numbers don't match up. I promise there's a reason for it, right? Where we have multidisciplinary faculty pairs across the university. So for example, I co-taught with an engineering faculty, for example. So our students got to do projects on the UN SDGs, but was on international studies, but also engineering. So they got to learn even more, yet within a framework. They didn't have to pay for an engineering class, right? But they got to expand their knowledge and their abilities. We had collaborated, the syllabus had an overlap of 25 to 30%, which is substantial in every syllabus collaboration because we needed the buy-in from the students. We needed the students to take this seriously, and everyone had a main common project that was focused on one or multiple SDGs. The student projects that came out of this were amazing. And up to this date, we engaged about 1,500 students, which might seem like a small number of students, but our small university we believe we're starting strong and we're gonna continue this. And some pictures, that's an American-based student and a UAE-based student, and they were actually in the same class on 2 different sides of the world. Sorry, I'm just looking at our time. Sorry, we have 5 more minutes. I have a timer. All right, so now we're leaving the classroom. So as I said, I'm very, very passionate about curricular integration of the SDGs, but not just into the classroom, outside of the classroom. Now, this is a very collaborative effort, right? Lisa pioneered this along with the help of myself and with Julie. Actually, we work very well together, the 3 of us. And so Student Affairs, Residential Life, the Office of Sustainability, and myself. We created a curriculum for the students. This was not a formal curriculum, right? This was no credit given, but students that lived in the dorms had the ability to live together and experience what it was. Experience a collaborative environment where everyone was interested in the SDGs, right? And they got to see talks by professors and to really engage with climate change on a very intimate level in their dormitories, right? So they learned about the SDGs in the classroom, and now they're having the experience with other people who are really interested in deeper understanding of the SDGs outside of the classroom. So the structure is this: we had bi-weekly sessions related to the UN SDGs and specifically COP themes. We had presentations and discussion by US professors, right? We have all these faculty who are very experienced, know their subject matter, and they volunteer their time and their effort in order to engage with the students. This was the opening day and this was the closing day, right? A small number of students, yet very dedicated, and it was wonderful to work with. Now, we had trips and activities based on sustainable practices, so it wasn't just about the learning, the classroom style learning, it was also about what they did with their residential advisors, right? It was about taking what they learn and making it into practice, which was really, really cool, and making it fun, right? The classroom might not be necessarily fun all the time, but making something fun and learning can be challenging, but yet very good. All right. So I will hand it back to Julia.
Yes, I just quickly wanted to touch on another extracurricular activity that we host at the university, which is our peer leader program, or we call them eco-reps. So my office hires 4 to 10 students each year, each academic year, to work as ecology representatives. And as such, they conduct peer-to-peer sustainability education on campus. These are typically enthusiastic students who want to promote sustainable change on campus. We try to represent our student body as closely as we can, different genders, different disciplines, different ages or years. And the main activities include workshops, inviting guest speakers and hosting guest speaking events on campus, organizing field trips, student competitions, classroom engagement, and also internship opportunities in sustainability. And the goal is really to deepen the students' understanding of a sustainable campus and build this network of like-minded students that drive sustainable change on campus. And we have found that this is the most effective way to engage students in sustainability because they're more likely to listen to their peers than to us. One of the key capstone projects that I'm very proud of is this student-led conference on climate action that we've been running since 2019 on a yearly basis. It's fully student-led. They choose the topic, I mean, besides climate action in the UAE, but they invite the partners from the private sector, the government, and other higher education institutions in the UAE. And they have obviously mentorship support from our office, but have been running a fantastic conference in close collaboration with one of the other universities, NYU Abu Dhabi. And I'm really proud of the students. And this work actually came in very handy when we found out that COP28 was going to be hosted in the UAE, because COP has a student counterpart or youth counterpart. There is a UN constituency called Yango that engages youth in the climate change process. And every year, they're looking for student representatives to co-host the Youth Climate Change Conference in the country where the COP is hosted. So actually, our students, I'm very proud they applied to be one of the co-hosts of COI 18. So it's numbered based on the time, many times it has happened. And they co-hosted this global international conference on climate change that really empowered them to be part of the climate change process. And actually, they handed over the youth statement to the COP presidency, which was included in the final negotiation agreement. So it's really a big milestone. And to summarize,
I promise. I will be very short. Okay, to summarize, this is all work that we've done in just the last year and a half, but we believe that it really has long-term benefits to both of our institution and the students and the educators, right? We want to bring everyone together. We want to make sure that everyone is involved. Sustainability is not just about student services, it's about everyone. And sometimes it's hard to get the buy-in from all of the stakeholders at an institution. But if you show this to every one of the parties, you will convince them, right? So you build partnerships, you will get better engagement, higher retention. That's a key for institutions, right? You'll keep more students. The students will have social engagement. They will create more global citizenship. And as educators, we always have to keep learning. We'll rethink our limits. IUS has done a lot, and however, we're still at the beginning of our journey, and we hope to continue as such. And we welcome all of your advice and all of your journeys on how you did it successfully. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I did want to show just real quickly. The logo was also designed by the students. The Green Living Learning Community. I just want to say that.
I forgot to say, yeah.
I love this logo. They did a competition with the resident advisors, and this. I don't know. That's okay, but that logo, if you've never seen it, with the Green Living Learning Community, I just love that logo. Okay, sorry.
Can we put it up? Yeah, sorry. It's just that.
That's okay.
Okay. I forgot to mention it. I mean, I put
Right
it up
there.
there because I'm also proud of it.
There it is. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Oh, I'm just thrilled to see these ladies, because the last time I saw them was online, some of you. the one thing about Iasas and the work we do virtually, and some of you guys, these presentations, we were going to ask you to possibly, we'll do them as webinars too, possibly. But one of the greatest beauty is during COVID, we held the Global Summit, not in Toronto, but virtually, and I met these ladies through that. I think a couple of you guys for sure. So I'm going to ask Helen Wong to come up. Good to see you in person now.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Helen Wong. I'm from the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology in Hong Kong. And our university is 33 years old. So we're kind of similar. It's still a young university, but we have achieved a lot too. So I'm very pleased to have an opportunity to share with you about an impact project that we piloted in our campus on zero plastic takeaway container. So this is our campus. Don't you like that? I love going to work at this campus. And here at HKUST, my role actually is the head of co-curricular programs of the Dean of Students Office. I'm also the program director for HKUST Connect, which is a community engagement initiative that takes our students out to the community, service learning, social entrepreneurship, all those, and also sustainability projects. And we want to nurture them into global citizen. And also, we advocate everyone can be a change maker. No matter what kind of action you take, you make a small change. Collectively, we make big changes. And this is HKUST Connect. We bring them through a change maker pathway, and these are the different elements. We have direct services. We also have scaled direct services. And this time, we approached we try to facilitate a systems change because in Hong Kong, we are going to have a new policy in banning plastic. At the same time, my role in this HKUST 2028 Sustainability Challenge is also helping my work because we have a Sustainable Operations Executive Committee that the Vice President of Business and Administration oversees and will look into the progress of these different aspects. In particular, community well-being was added last year, 2 years ago actually, in 2022, and that's why they invited me to join the committee. And through this committee work, I got to learn a lot. Lifelong learning, really. Waste management, energy savings, how do you save water in labs, in halls, and all that. Sometimes, to be honest, sometimes those reports are quite boring because I can't really associate with those technicalities. But one thing I know, where we are driving our university towards. And it really helped my work in working with our students, designing learning opportunities for them, and also to watch out for partners to work on these initiatives. So, you have been to Hong Kong. Have you had one of these? Char siu fan. Yes, excellent. So this is a favorite specialty of Hong Kong, barbecue pork. Michelle, we mentioned that to you the other night. It's called char siu fan. And it's a comfort food, so everyone would have taken one of these out with a styrofoam box, okay? And our community have recently just banned styrofoam box. So look at the date, it's April 19th. So this is a China Morning Post. They just did an experiment with 6 of their colleagues, 5 days with 30 takeout meals, and it ended up with 127 plastic items collected. Just imagine that for 6 people for 5 days, already 127. So imagine Hong Kong has 7 odd million people. How many of plastic waste we are having? So these are the plastic waste. The red ones are the ones that we're banning. And This is a data that we got in 2022, 4.06 million tons of municipal solid waste disposed in our landfill, and 21% of them are waste plastics. Now, I need to, even though I'm being recorded, I still have to say Hong Kong is not doing well in recycling and not doing well in waste management at all. We're very behind, and so our government is trying to do more, but somehow, I don't know why we're not achieving that. So we are, as a citizen, we are very frustrated as well. So we have this regulation of disposable plastic tableware. I thought this will amuse you. And what amuses you more, I think, would be how our government is trying to promote this. And let's see. And there's no sound. Can we have some sound?
Catering
But with the
businesses
sound,
no
it's
longer
even more
provide
funny.
all types of disposable plastic tableware for dine-in meals, or these for takeaway meals. The retail trade stopped supplying 9 types of disposable plastic products and tableware. Hotels also cannot provide disposable plastic toiletries and plastic bottled water for free. The first stage of control starts on Earth Day, April 22nd, 2024.
Okay, so April 22nd, 2024. So it just happened. They banned, it's the first round of phase 1 regulation. These are the items that they are banning. And they are suggesting you to use the reusable tableware as well as the non-plastic disposable tableware. I'm telling you all this because I need to set a context for our project. Why are we doing what we're doing? So back to the char siu fan, okay? So can we do better? Do we each bring a bowl to pick up our char siu fan, which we love, or we use an alternative? So we have these alternative which looks like paper, but I think some of you might remember these paper boxes works well when it's dry salad, sandwiches, right? When it's has liquid, soup, or oil, it just doesn't work well. Or unless you have one of these cups that my colleague is going to pass around that has a coating on it, PFAS. And I'm not going to go deep into what PFAS is because I personally don't know the technicality of it. But one thing I know, PFAS is detrimental to human health. Actually, I just drank a coffee out of one of those paper cups and I drank microplastic into my body. And microplastic can actually enter into your human bloodstream, cancer causing. And everyone is drinking it. That's a Starbucks cup, by the way. So, and I'm being recorded, I know that, but go try out any single of these cups, most of them, actually. If it works well, has this coating of plastic or acrylic on it for the functionality. But have you thought about whether we can have a 100% biodegradable cup? Now, I learned all this, talking about lifelong learning, I learned all this when I first met the CEO of this company, social entrepreneur, at Coinno, with zero plastic solution, developing a cellular-based solution, pure plant-based, to reimagine industrial and engineering material needs. Now, talking about partnerships, working with companies, when we solve all these grand challenges, we can't do it alone. University can't do it alone. Government can't do it alone. It has to be a big collaboration. So George has been telling me how his journey, how he's developing these new products that is 100% biodegradable, it's plant-based, and because of the technology that they've researched for 15 years, it has that structure that holds. And I'm going to ask my colleague to now pass around these. You can feel it. It doesn't feel like the normal plastic you have. It's much, much, much harder. So, right, and this is a green composite material that it's developed. No plastic lining, no water-based coating. Most important of all, it's safe, no PFAS. And get this, it can resist very low temperature as well as high temperature. Microwavable, put in oven, you can steam it and you can air fry it. and it can be biodegradable within 75 days. Isn't that an innovation? And it's a Hong Kong-based company. I'm so proud that it's a Hong Kong-based company, and they've suffered 15 years with no revenue just for one single cause, to solve the plastic problem in the world. Okay, so now we have a solution. The key is now to get him to be able to bring the cost down. Now, this is pilot that EcoWindow was involved, supporting an NGO, Food Angel, during COVID time with the cook and chill kitchen. You know, COVID time, many people were displaced and left in poverty. And Food Angel provide food to these underprivileged families. And so because of the property of this material that can resist low and high temperature, so it's a cook and chill process. The food is cooked, put into the box, put in the trays, put into the freezer as a trays, and then bring it back out, put in one of these vending machines, and the families can either take it out at a very low cost or at no cost, bring it home, put it right into your microwave, and it worked. It's a meal. So at that time when I met with George, I thought, wow. So he explained to me, this is the circular economy that he's trying to achieve. And we're all talking about circular economy these days. And so with this, in Hong Kong, we have the, an organic resource recovery park called Old Park that uses a process. After these boxes is collected, shredded, put into the food waste, through a process, it can become biogas, which is a renewable energy, and the residues will become organic fertilizers back to the nature. So it completes the loop. And to me, at that time, I really thought, wow, I really need to bring this to my university. So from then on, we have this partnership with George. In October 2022, I brought him to HKUST for the talk to the students, not so much about the product itself, but his journey as a change maker to solve this global challenge. And then in April 2023, my office, the HKUST Connect, organized the Global Service Day, which is a movement that we engage everyone in the community to go out, fan out into the community to do projects together. We brought him to our campus, and the lady standing next to me is our president, sharing his new technology. She was also amazed, immediately get our R&D vice president to talk to him, because it's a real breakthrough in material engineering, colleagues talking, and then all that. And then we piloted on our campus, and this is what we did. This is our second pilot, by the way. So after eating, you have to take away the food waste and then recycle the items to the box. And in waste, our clean management, they will shred it, and with the shredding, we will put it in together with the food waste and bring it to the Old Park. So in phase one, we have one caterer to help us, and these are the numbers of collection of the cups. At this pilot, we saved 20,000 pieces of plastic items. And then in phase two, we managed to get 5 more caterers to support us, and also we've collected the items. You may notice the number of collected items is the same. I'll leave that at the, if you're interested, I'll leave that Q&A to tell you why it's the same amount of numbers. So what I'm trying to display here is a project that is cross offices. We work with our sustainability office, net zero office. We have the Eco Wrap to help us tell everyone. Our office, we work with campus management office in waste management, campus services office in the caterers, as well as the catering outlets. They are the ones who need to buy and use it. That's the most important buy-in. And EcoWindow is the company. But what is important is that we actually bring them together and help them try out this no plastic situation before the regulation comes into place. And that's also why they are willing to buy in. So government, policies, everything has to come together in order to solve this problem. And of course, we managed to establish this circular economy at HKUST. We are the only location, the first location in Hong Kong using EcoWindows product to experience this circular economy. So for me, the most valuable is I brought this to our students and they can visualize and be part of it. And now they can really think about what the feedback, feeding back to also the company in the user feedback, how to improve the product, and also for our campus, how to improve the different stakeholders' work in order to make things work. So give me 2 minutes. I brought George with me. He's the founder, and
Food
this
waste
is
contribute
him.
over almost 55 to 60% of our landfill in Hong Kong. And food waste is extremely difficult. They are bulky, they're heavy, and so on. Waste management, everything on a whole line is not only responsibility of the government, but are we willing to take it? To complete the circular economy, we need different stakeholders. So we've been looking around for many partners, not only from university, from industry part and commercial part. In order to put all the partners together, we also need space, we need venue, we need people, and finally, we need willingness to try. I'm Hong Kong born, even though I'm educated overseas. I have a luxury to work with different universities. And when you mention University of Science and Technology, we are technologists. So we feel that it's so easy to relate it to the university through the almost like the same languages. I think the culture here is a very open-minded culture. We have a lot of problems we need to deal with, but the people, the reception, and also the eagerness, and also the speed is so amazing. Normally, other places maybe take me 1 month to go through a few issues. Over there, 20 minutes. It's done. We are not unique, but we're special. Any new technology, you need endorsement. Endorsement from industry, endorsement from the user, endorsement from the provider. Having the platform with a university, first of all, they extend the endorsement. Definitely, we document the project in different stages. Those are very important information for us because we are connecting different stakeholders. Those information we share with various governments in the world. So I mean the credential is very important. So I think that become a piece of very important evidence to show that circular economy actually works. So right now, what we did with this project is that go back to nature, but using science and technology to give it more efficient, more cost effective. And this platform will definitely attract the attention of everybody, and everybody can see, yes, there is solution, and then everybody participate. So this is how we believe the habits start to change.
Yes, so talking about habits, ultimately we want to encourage reusable product for sure. We don't want to do disposable. And in fact, on our campus, we also have a reusable kind of system. So this pilot actually helped inform both systems, the pros and cons, and then our sustainability office and also the waste management office is now evaluating which one to go by. We are still in the process, and I'm glad that we are facilitating. This is the picture of our Global Service Day, and to facilitate an equitable kindness, community inclusion, and sustainability, we really need everybody to work together. So thank you very much.
Amazing presentations. I want to thank everyone. Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Thank you. Oh, Yiran, there she is. From Dukushan in China, kind of near Shanghai, right? All right, Yiran. Keeping me organized. Thank you. Here you go. So nice to see you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yiran Tang. You may call me Eling. I am from China and currently work in Duke Kunshan University and student experience on the Resident Life Department. And it is my honor to be here to share one of the leadership program we have developed in past 2 years for our department. Before I jump into more details of this program, my co-presenter, who is the assistant dean from our student experience department, is not able to hear, so he sent a quick video to me to introduce a little bit more about our university and our department. And our university is a even younger university, so 10 years, we just did 10 years university. How can I make the video? Here. Yeah, it's here, but it's not showing. It's not showing. Yeah.
But it's not showing on there.
Yes.
Yeah.
This screen.
Maybe they have to open it up.
Yeah, maybe it's too sad.
Maybe they have to open up there.
It's a Chrome downstairs.
Got the great mind.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I couldn't make it in person today.
Oops.
Hello, everyone. Sorry I couldn't make it in person today.
Maybe while we're waiting, I can share a little bit about my personal experience. And I'm a very new to student affairs field, so it is my honor to be here. I joined Duke Kunshan University 1.5 years and directly working for the Resident Life department. And our department mission is to create opportunities for students who live in our campus to live, learn, and lead. And if you get a chance to visit there, you will heard us repeat live, learn, and lead a lot. And the difference was traditional Chinese university. Our resident hall is using US mode base. So we have a resident life coordinator like me, residential education coordinator, and residence assistant to form our team. Okay, looks like the video doesn't want to work today. So I will just start to introduce this. Again, this is our residential missions. And today I will talk about the Global Leadership Academy we developed. And the Global Leader Academy was created in fall 2020 to help students to become sustainability global leaders who can positively impact our campus, Kunshan community, and even among the world. And GLA is something definitely we put a lot of focus for the lead session for students outside of classroom setting. And when we designed this academy, well, we are mainly focused on three main things. One is liberal arts education. As I mentioned earlier, since we are a very, very small university, we only have around 1,600 students so far. So liberal arts education is one of our significant education model. And the second is we try to in-depth interaction with real-life leaders for students who interested attend this academy. And last one is emphasize on character building and leadership development of students. To take a deep look on these three main focus, first is liberal arts education. I'm sure everyone who's sitting here is even probably have more better understanding of liberal arts education than me. And the concept of liberal arts education is not only it's not about the format. We have small classes, students can ask questions. We want to use this method that encourages students to continually pose questions, engaging in discussions, and beyond the format of teaching. And we believe this education mode aims to blend knowledge from various disciplines to foster students with active and comprehensive perspective. And the second one is interact real-life leaders. So for students who attend Global Leadership Academy, we will invite school leaders, excellent faculty to have panel sessions so students can listen and discuss the school leaders, faculty's leadership development experience. And this interaction creates a bridge between the book knowledge to the real-world application, enhancing students' ability to lead and innovate. And last but not least is the personal character development. And especially when you want to become a leader, personal character and personality plays a very significant roles. And emphasizing individual research project and nurturing a global mindset helps to shape students into innovate leaders. And this approach instills quality like critical thinking, adaptability, and cultural awareness. So overall, this academy is not only about anchoring knowledges from book, it is more about fostering mindset and skill set that empowers individuals to lead and innovate on a global scale. And to share a little bit more about the method we included in this academy, we are mainly using the social change model of leadership to teaching our this program. As you can see on this graph, there are three clusters of values that interact with each other, which are individual values, group values, and community and society values. And they are individuals, but they all make influence on each other, and each pieces are all very important. So for the individual values, we have consciousness of self, congruence, and commitment. We want to put this stage first because we want our students to realize when you become a good leader, the first step you should build is to have a better understanding about yourselves. So conscience of self really helps students to understand their strengths, weaknesses, and congruence helps students have a better understanding about their actions, because when we during the program, we realized a lot of times students have the actions, but they forgot to reflect or think what the back reason they doing this action. So the congruence part we find is very important stage for individual values. And last is commitment. Commitment is a ability to engage in something you have passion about, to follow your personal goals, and to purpose and stick with something that's important for you to accomplish. And the group values, we have a common purpose, collaboration, and controversy of civility. And as a leader, we most of time working in a group settings, so find a common purpose, how to collaborating with teammates, and how to respectfully hear different people's ideas when there's conference. When they have conflicts, it's something we focus on the group values. And the last one is community and society values. We have put citizenship in here. In here, the citizenship doesn't mean we will voting or acting like as a real life citizens. For this part, we were trying to make meaning for engaging communities, for students can be engaged with, you are doing, be active participants in the process of those groups and working with others to accomplish this year purpose. Some more detail about these organizations. So this program we have developed into two main parts. The first one is base camp. The base camp is more structures, classing styles, and we have 3 stages, which are Discover, Explore, and Trial Blast. For the Discover, is mainly facing to our freshman students. Is the stage of leadership development, and for the Explorer, is mainly facing sophomore and junior students, and who have to complete the first stage to enter the second stage, and so on. And for the Expedition, we also can view that as a field work, and this experience students will get more like active experience, and they will use what they learn and gain from the base camp into practice, and staff member will help them to find how to apply what they have learned and goals on their primary. And the format of the class, we have traditional lessons, like I mentioned earlier. Each class we will teach based on the individual values, group values, and community values for one class to students to understand about leadership. And for the model, we have workshop style and experimental style. For the workshop, there will be readings, videos, discussions, and panels include. For the experimental, we will have games, activities that gave participants the opportunity to view the experience and apply the lesson they learned in the lecture model. And the picture over there is the Global Leadership Academy class we have in 2021. And some timeline and requirement for this program. This program is an experience-tied program during the semester. Of course, we will need students to give us a time commitment for the entire semester. And at the beginning of the semester, the application will facing to all the university students, and students will ask to fill out an application why they are interested to attend this program and what their expectation to gain from the leadership program. And each week, student will be required to attend 1 lesson per week, and that is focused on different aspects of the model being taught. And for each model, we will have workshop as a panel discussion, reading, etc. And also we have, including the fun part, is the 2 adventures. Usually we will bring students to outside of campus to providing a new challenging environment for students to see how they act in a group setting to develop their leadership skills in real life. And for the final showcase, we will not limit it on the topic discussion. We will ask students to work in the group to share what some leadership experience they gain from these courses. And last, I want to use this traditional Chinese quote to end my presentation. And this is also, we put it on our workbook for our students. It's called A Journey of 1,000 Miles Begins with a Single Step. 千里之行始于足下 is from a traditional Chinese educator, Lao Tzu. And the Global Leadership Academy exists is try to provide a platform for interested students to learn about the skills of leadership, and it is is not only about the leadership skills. It's a lot of including a lot of key skills such as communication, decision making, teamwork, and problem solving. And those skills are necessary, and we want to keep development that for our students even outside of the classroom. And thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, great. We have 30 minutes, I think, right? Okay, great. Yeah. You're ready. I didn't know. We have one more. There's Lanche. I said I know he's here, but I didn't want to put you on the spot. I was like, I'm so glad. My South African colleague, he's also hosting this year our Student Leader Global Summit. So we'll be at the University of Pretoria. So I'm excited to see his campus. And thank you for those of you that did support it. We have a really nice group of students that it looks like is going to be joining for the Student Leader Global Summit.
So I was going to say the same thing, that we're excited to be hosting the SLGS, but here we go, Lisa said that. If you need more information about that, please feel free to reach out to us, of course, throughout the next 2 days. So from the onset, I just want to apologize to the tech team. I've changed this presentation probably 5 times. The more I sat in these sessions, the more I got feedback from the crowd and from the presenters, and I change it all the time. So the last one I sent a couple of hours ago, but it's this one that's up, so we'll make it work. So maybe let me, as we have half an hour left, let me start with the introduction. I'm Lanche van Tonder, currently at the University of Pretoria. I'm the head of residence management and student life there, institution about 60,000 students. And I'm also currently serving as the globalization director for Cool. And as Lisa said, very excited to be hosting Iasas in July. There we go. So as I said, my presentation changed a couple of times, and this morning I felt, or last night actually, I felt, let me just talk about some collaboration issues on the table, and it fits into with creating the ecosystems of collaboration in our environments, but I just thought, let me wrap it up. I initially had a lot of scholarly articles and references in the presentation, research work, but I just kept it very high level, 1, 2, 3 things to go. So I'll talk about the current landscape a bit, just some challenges that we're experiencing, some strategies to counter those challenges. But of course, through all of that, just look at the stakeholders that we are currently considering in our environment. Now, we've spoken a lot about AI, or we've referenced it throughout the past 2 days. Do any of you use AI in your day-to-day work and in fun on the couch and anything? So I use it all the time. Yeah, so I asked DALL-E and ChatGPT throughout last week, and it's probably the second version of this. What do you see as the current, and how are we moving towards a future higher education model, classroom style? And this is what he was given to us. First of all, it was this kind of screen that students from all, and you might see some of these flags aren't accurate because that's what they do, they distort some of it. International students from all over sitting in a space, learning together in the old-fashioned way, in front of a computer in a classroom. So as I said, this is AI generated, so the demographics and dynamics of the classroom is what was given to us. It then moves to kind of an online, in your personal space. I'm sitting at home or sitting in an office, working, getting lectured by whoever, one person, but the message goes out to hundreds or thousands of students. This then further goes to a more technology-driven working in labs on whichever ways. And it seems like this is a chemistry lab, but the explanation that AI gave me is that everything will be managed and done chemically in a lab environment. However, it raised a concern going through everything is that if we want to do that, we are going to forget about that we have these circumstances in our society as well. Classrooms without the technology, the resources, not having the information and education, but we want that, what we just saw here. So this was raised and flagged as a concern by Dali. Ultimately, the idea, if we follow the resources and look at the collaborations that are available and that we should do, this should be, this is what they think we'll end up with. You can see we're focusing on the traditional books and the knowledge that is depicted by the bookshelves, but then also have the technology on our desk that we can do in front of the lecturer, but also from our homes or wherever we are. We can have classes by a robot and so forth. But as I said, we're now forgetting that probably most of our institutions will not be able to get here soon and on their own, perhaps. Okay, so just to briefly recap what Dali said and what I think is currently the situation is that our current landscape is evolving, rapidly evolving, and there seems to be a need for a global society. Global society, not just in terms of educational societies, but global society with external role players, stakeholders, people that are assisting, and so forth. Now, the shift is also, as we saw in that, towards digital learning, not just face-to-face learning, and we've spoken about that, and I understand that a lot of people are more comfortable with the actual in-person learning, but we need to understand, and it was said by the presenters earlier this week, that we're heading towards some sort of digitization when it comes to education. Now, there is also, and as you can see, at Global Society, there's an emphasis on international collaboration, as I mentioned. So the key to innovation and addressing the global challenges, in my view, disclaimer again, so I said I had a lot of articles and references and research indicates there, which is not my work, but what I've gathered from that is that the global challenges will all only be addressed if there is collaboration between various number of stakeholders. Now, currently, let's look at some of the, oh, by the way, these are also Dali generated. So I did that for all the slides where there are images. I just tell them, show me something about evolution, show me something about working in silos, and they literally put people in silos there. So at least we get the picture. You can see they're working in maze silos flying around. But some of the challenges, I just mentioned three, is that people tend to work in silos. And this is on institutional level, inter-institutional level, and just globally. People tend to make sure, or are of the opinion that my view is my view, and this has been working for decades, and we're a top 5 institution. Remember, we're moving away from rankings. We're a top 5 institution, and I don't need external help. But that obviously needs to change. People working in silos will never understand what the others can contribute towards them. So that's why it's important, not just for yourself, but seeing the value that others can add to you as well. Financial constraints, so that's something we always mention, and all the institutions, a lot of the institutions, not all of them, always indicate that there's some sort of financial constraint. At those institutions where there aren't any financial constraint, the issue is usually in the smaller departments. Why does student affairs not have a budget to do this? And why does the housing department, why can't they upgrade their facilities? So there's always kind of a way and reason to find that there's financial constraints within our institutions. And then lastly is we have a goal and communication gap. Different institutions, different divisions within the institution or different organizations have certain goals and they want to help and they want to communicate with one another, but they forget that there's no sort of communication around what they want to achieve, so they don't know how they can help one another out. Now, just briefly looking at some of the stakeholders, and I've indicated, was it 5 there, and it doesn't mean that it's only 5, but I've just kind of given you the impression that the stakeholders, we have equal weight and equal contribution that all of our stakeholders can have. We should not forget that the student can be just as valuable as the academic staff or government when it comes to collaboration discussions, right? So I don't know who of you follow Kurt Rice, but he's into higher education and was big in Oslo, but I just put the QR code here if you want to go watch a 16 or so minute video. I think it was released around October, November. I follow him, so I picked up on this one. And in the specific video, he mentions 5 things that come to mind going through his video. And one of it is, let me just get it here. The global, okay, so the video discusses the global trends as I've just made you or shared with you, and it's becoming a globalized society. So what the research showed that I spoke to you about and what he says in his video, only 8 months old, kind of correlate in terms of becoming a global society with role plays and impacts from all over. It then focuses on the Learning Compass of 2030. I think later on in this slide, if I got to it, I included a link that you can just go view the OECD Learning Compass if you don't know what that is about. He suggests and recommends and kind of warns us that there will be innovative learning methods coming to the table, and we know that. We've touched on it earlier today, and throughout the past 2 days, we've mentioned that there will be new ways of learning. Inclusivity and accessibility as that dooming picture of the student sitting in the class not having the resources, that touches on inclusivity and accessibility of all students. So in all these things that I say, just keep in mind collaboration. So if people aren't inclusive, or societies that we create aren't inclusive and aren't accessible, one way to deal with it is to foster collaborative relationships, right? And then sustainability and responsibility is kind of why we're here, just to see how we can sustain what we do and what we offer in a responsible manner, right? What stood out for me in the end was he mentions that the importance is in shifting away from competition towards cooperation. And this links with the 2 speakers we had. I got it here. From Johanna's presentation, she said, let's compete to impact, not for rating. Okay, and this morning's presentation by Birgit says, let's ignore the rankings. They're not doing good anyway. Okay, so that links with what he says. So if you have the time tonight or on your flight back, you can go watch the 16-minute clip. Just quickly, some possible examples of, in my view, successful examples of collaboration is Universitas 21, and I think, so let me just show you how I'm not overreacting if I say my presentation changed. Here's the QR code of all 4 of those, but not in this one, so I changed it yet again, so sorry. But I can share that with you. So I thought that these are some successful examples of collaboration and environments around that. Universitas 21, the edX Consortium, Iasas, and the South African Student Development Goals Hub, which is hosted by the University of Pretoria. So those are some of the successful products. Now, briefly, before I run out of time, just to look at some strategies. As we mentioned, that communication probably is most important. Not communicating what we want to offer and what we want, but communicating how we can impact and influence others with whatever we have to offer. I think if the conversation around what we want and the conversation about what we are able to give correlate, it makes sense to us, right? Then we've also spoken over the past 2 days a lot of, it feels like I'm wrapping up what was said over the past 2 days, but it's not that. I'm just, yeah, okay. So we've said that there needs to be agreements, and we've spoken about several agreements, and I just gave you an example of Iasas being an organization that has that collaboration and agreements in place, but we need to have policy and agreements in place with all the stakeholders, right? And then the internegotiations. When we're in a society, it can be interdepartmental, institutional. Those conversations around with inside our institution just need to take place so that we once again know that when we get people involved, this is exactly what they have to offer, and that is what we need. And then obviously also just having joint projects. We can discuss more about this all day long, but I see I'm nearing the time. Now, just to end off, because you usually end off with some sort of quote, and I just think this is great when you talk about collaboration from Henry Ford, is that coming together is the beginning, right? Keeping together is progress, but working together in a collaborative environment, that is true success. And we all know how successful him and the company was. So with that being said, I would like to for you to connect with me. Let's connect on Instagram, and let's have you at the Iasas SLGS, and just have you all over the world and collaborate. Thank you for today.
Great. And great discussion. And yes, you did wrap up some nice takeaways for the 2 days. So thank you for that. And also, I think the other takeaway here on the SDG 17 in partnerships, we keep hearing that theme in every single session. Is that just me? It's definitely something I've seen, and really appreciate in the work we do as supporting the institution and helping our students learn about community, about collaboration, about partnerships, and all of that. So now I'm going to open it up for questions. Anybody have any questions or comments they wanted to make at this point? Are we too tired? Yes, Hakeem's like, I'm tired. I know. Anyone else? Okay, well, I'm going to leave you, remind you again. Oh, wait, could you put up that QR code? Subin? Is Subin still here? Okay, could you put up that? Sorry, there's a QR code because we're doing awards. So if you could please just do that before you leave. I'll put up the QR code. Reminder that we are starting the next sessions earlier so that we have more time for the gala. And I look forward to celebrating the gala with you all. So go to, this is the one here, if you don't mind, 3C. Do you guys get it? I'll leave it here, you can come up. So thank you so much. Thank you to the presenters. And I know I'm leaving with a lot of great takeaways. So thank you. Thank you, Sabine.